A gay couple just won marriage equality in Bermuda, and Connecticut banned harmful ex-gay therapy. But also this week, Texas advanced 2 bills that could do serious harm to LGBT parents and kids, and the Human Rights Campaign is calling out Bank of America for their role in getting a discriminatory law passed in North Carolina. I'll have all that news and more on Weekly Debrief, plus actions you can take to resist those dangerous new laws. Let's start this week with some good news. Bermuda just legalized marriage equality. That's thanks to a lawsuit by a couple named Greg LaRoche and Winston Godwin. They sued for the right to get married, and Bermuda's Supreme Court ruled that their Human Rights Act takes priority over the marriage ban. So congrats to Winston and Greg and all of Bermuda. And congrats to Connecticut, where Governor Dan Malloy signed a ban on so-called conversion therapy into law. It's the 7th state to ban the dangerous, unscientific practice, and similar bills are in the works across the country. The latest from Chechnya, gay men continue to face persecution from security officials. But thanks to the contributions from people all over the world, the Russian LGBT network has been able to evacuate about 40 people to safety. That's encouraging, but governments could still be doing more to expedite safe passage to refugees. Meanwhile, world leaders are continuing to speak out against the violence, from Angela Merkel to Theresa May. When asked if Donald Trump was aware of the situation, a White House official said, "I'm not 100% sure." The state of Texas has 4,000 children in need of adoption, and so few homes for them that many are housed in government office buildings. This is tragic, but according to lawmakers, the real victims here are adoption agencies who want to further reduce available homes. This week, the Texas legislature advanced a bill that would protect adoption agencies that deny services to same-sex couples. This goes way beyond what any other state has done because it extends past just adoption. It also lets providers withhold family-related services like assistance for victims of abuse, counseling services, and providing group shelter so siblings don't have to be split up. A quarter of Texas's providers are religiously affiliated, and because the state's so big, this could mean that a family might have to travel for hours to get help because the provider down the street turned them away. Texas also just advanced a bill that allows schools to kick trans kids off of sports teams. If it passes, trans students would be forced to choose between participating in school activities or getting medically necessary treatment. It also creates an incentive for kids to delay transition, something that we know puts them at increased risk of mental health problems. Both of these bills put the best interests of kids dead last, behind those of organizations that want to discriminate against LGBT people. As a result of these bills, kids will have less access to adoptive homes, to family services, to school programs, and to medical treatment. These bills are about making it impossible for same-sex parents and trans kids to exist in public. A similar bill just became law in Tennessee, but parents there are fighting back. Tennessee's law is super vague and just says that the state must abide by the natural and ordinary meaning of terms like marriage. What does that even mean? Well, it's basically an attempt to get around the Obergefell ruling that legalized marriage nationwide by letting the state say that LGBT relationships aren't natural and ordinary. Obviously, that would be ridiculously unconstitutional, so this week a group of lesbian moms sued, saying that the state needs to offer them the same protection as opposite-sex couples. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, there's been more fallout from the fake repeal of HB 2, the state's notorious trans bathroom ban. Earlier this year, lawmakers claimed that the law was overturned, when really they just replaced it with something worse, a ban on non-discrimination laws statewide. This so-called compromise was negotiated in part by the CEO of Bank of America, and now the Human Rights Campaign is returning hundreds of thousands of dollars that were pledged by the bank and slashing Bank of America's corporate equality score from 100% to 75%. The good news is that in all of these states passing discriminatory laws, there's hope. Congressional Democrats just introduced the Equality Act, a bill that would provide protections for LGBT people nationwide, even in states passing discriminatory laws like Texas and Tennessee and North Carolina and wherever you live. But lawmakers need to hear that you want the Equality Act passed, and an easy way to do that is with ResistBot. All you have to do is text RESIST to 50409. It'll walk you through a quick process to write a letter that gets physically delivered to your senators. The whole process happens via text, so you can do it from wherever you are. And just text RESIST to 50409, tell them you want them to pass the Equality Act of 2017. And please share this video to spread the word about the dangerous bills becoming law across the country and the steps that people can take to fight back. Let me know your thoughts at Matt Baum on Twitter and in the comments. Subscribe to stay up to date, and I'll debrief you next week.